Hi, you guys. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. We have some exciting things to tell you about that I think are going to help you have those critical conversations with school districts right now. But before we get started, can we get you guys to say hello in the chat? It really helps us if we have the feeling that you're there and you're listening and to know if you have questions and all that. So, what you'll do is hit the chat button on your toolbar if it's not already open for you. And then you're going to change the little blue box that says all panelists, change it to everyone in the meeting, or it may say all panelists and attendees. And after you do that, just say hi. Thank you, Rob. Good job. Change that to all panelists and attendees and say hi again so everybody else can see you. Nice. Thanks, guys. Appreciate that. I want you to know, too, we have learned a lot about doing webinars in the last month, as you might imagine, and we have learned that this tool that we use also has a Q&A button, and you can ask questions through there anonymously. So we really, really encourage you to ask questions. The entire reason we do this is for you guys. Because we want you guys to sell our PD, so giving you the information you need is the whole reason we're here today. So if you hit the Q&A button, you will be able to actually ask a question anonymously. And Jess, I know you've studied up on this Zoom. There's a checkbox or something like that that you check if you want to ask a question anonymously. Is that right?
Yes, just right above where you're going to type your question, there's a little checkbox and it says make anonymous. So you can do that and then we won't know who exactly it is that asked it, but we'll be able to see your question.
Yes, and we will make sure that all those questions get answered today while we're in this webinar. So let's see, let's go ahead and get started. And you guys keep saying hello. If you haven't done that already, make sure you change from all panelists to all panelists and attendees. Unless you want to just speak to us, that's fine too. But we want you to be able to chat with each other. All right. Well, let me introduce us. I'm Amy Mayer, and hopefully I have met all of you guys before, but maybe not. I know we do work with some new teams and perhaps might not have met you face to face before. I do see a couple of new names. Brooke Lowry is with us today. Even though Brooke and Jess are off, it's Good Friday. They still chose to join in and talk to you guys today. We're all probably really lonely and like looking forward to talking to someone. So hopefully you are too. So Brooke, do you have your camera you can turn on today?
Oh, I'm seeing me. I'm
I
sorry
see
that
you
you're
too.
not seeing me.
There
We
you are.
see you.
Oh, do you see me now?
Yes, I wanted to see you catch that
Oh,
lizard you just caught there, but
well, you know, let me make this even funnier for everyone that I'm just got to my mom's house, haven't seen her in like a month, and they're not here, and she's terrified of all reptiles and or anything. And there was a little tiny lizard that is very common in Texas, these little bitty lizards
an
on
animal, right?
on the back of her very favorite chair. She's not here. And I just told the girls this story, and I just looked over, and there is a frog in the dining room.
Oh, thank God you're there to clear the house for her
Well,
before she gets back.
I just think it's hilarious. They haven't been here. They have a different house, a house out in the country they've been staying at a lot. And it just turns out when the people are away, instead of the mice playing in Texas, the
Reptiles will
outdoor reptiles will
come
come and play. I just want y'all to know I'm fine with lizards and frogs, but if any point you hear a loud scream, it's because maybe a snake is in here, because that's when I'm out. So
play. Yeah, I'm really hoping
it
that doesn't
is
happen next.
super clean, very nice, obviously abandoned and now a refuge home. It's just pretty funny.
Well, they say that nature is returning, with
Yeah.
us humans all stuck inside. So I guess you're just experiencing that.
So, CDW people, I hope y'all just enjoyed that little story of the antics that are happening right now. Live
Too
television.
bad we didn't get to see the on live
Yeah.
TV. We almost did, apparently.
Yeah.
Jess, you have something cool going on behind you.
I do because I'm at home and my actually I'm on my vacation. You don't know it yet, but
Oh,
yeah, I'm in
are
England.
you at Hogwarts?
I am. I'm at Hogwarts. So, no, I'm having to make do with some imperfect situations. So, the green screen feature in Zoom is wonderful. So,
That's really cool. My
yeah,
background is real. I could actually type back
well,
there
brag about it.
too. Uh, all right, let's go ahead and get started. I will screen share again, and like I just mentioned, we can all say we have done some serious webinaring in the last month. I mean, I personally have never hosted nor attended so many in my entire life. And, but it's been great because it's really been how we're providing PD, and it's allowed us to continue working with teachers. And so that's one thing we want to focus on today. So I kind of feel like from you guys' perspective, you may not know what we've been doing or how we can still provide things like the 2020 Google promo, because 95% of what we've done in the past has been face-to-face. And we kind of wondered that too at first, like, how are we going to be able to do that? But what we found out is we absolutely can do it. Schools want it. They've been reaching out to us now more than ever. I'd say this has been one of the busiest March and early Aprils we've ever experienced. And frankly, when schools closed, we didn't know whether that was going to be the case. But it has been. So there is more of a need for you guys to talk about professional development with schools now than ever before, because teachers need us and what we have to offer really, really badly. We did a free webinar series the first week that schools were closed. And we found out that week that we had to up our webinar numbers. We'd never had any, we'd never even had a webinar that hit 100 before. The first one we did, we were inundated with messages that teachers couldn't get in. It was a free webinar we just offered, and we found out we were limited to 100. We had to go back and get 500 seats. And then we have hosted quite a few webinars now where we were nearly at our capacity of 500.
We
So
were nearly sustaining our 500, which I think is really
yes,
also quite important.
it is. And right, Jessica, some of those we were doing were an hour and a half long, and we still had close to 500 people at the end. And we had ones where people were saying, don't stop, just keep going. And we're like, we've never seen people so hungry for professional development before. It's been
Yes.
wild, wild. So now more than ever, we please need you guys to remind schools that are buying Chromebooks, because we know, we're hearing from our colleagues that people are buying massive numbers of Chromebooks, which I hope they're buying them from you guys. And if they are, then they're still entitled to the 2020 Google promo. I'm going to send you this presentation like I always do when we end the webinar today, and you will have all of the links inside here to go to this page to remind yourself what the promo is all about. Google's been really good about being flexible and letting us take those dollar amounts that they have designated for each of those categories and transfer them to something online. So we can create something that works for them online regardless of what the promo paperwork says. We're willing to work with them and go to Google and ask. All right, so I think probably by now you guys know about the promo and the situation with getting your customers hooked up with it. But if not, please ask questions. We're certainly willing to go through it again. Um, and it looks like one of you guys is having trouble. Okay, let me read this statement. I'm having trouble getting honest feedback to know if schools are having challenges to pivot to e-learning. Oh, what a great question, Rob. Thank you so much for asking that. So teachers are begging and pleading for professional development, and these are the biggest problems they're having. You know what? I'm going to skip forward just a second to our webinar list, which I'm also going to provide to you today, because these are some of the webinars that we have been providing. The number one thing we have been providing is Google Classroom Basics. So school districts that are asking teachers to transition to teaching with Google Classroom, you know, yes, we may have been to their school district 5 times and done the training, but they didn't have to have it until now. And that changes everything. When I'm in this software, I'm teaching with it all day long now, I really, truly have a need to know. That's one. Even taking it to the next level now is important, because just understanding how to log into it and create an assignment's not enough. I really have to be able to use it to teach now. Another thing that has been really, really valuable is this rows 11 and 12 right here. Interactive digital notebooks go by a lot of different names, but one thing that we've been calling it is just creating hands-on digital learning activities, because what we don't want teachers to do is just resort to a bunch of worksheets. So we've worked all these years to try to get teachers to stop using worksheets. They're generally considered bad education practice, ineffective. There's a great quote: the child who needs the worksheet can't do it, and the child who can do it doesn't need it. And that's the best quote I've ever heard about worksheets. They're not a learning activity. Worksheets are more about evaluating whether or not you already know something. And that's a really important distinction to make. So what we're doing is teaching teachers how to create things that students can use to learn. How do they create an instructional video? Sometimes they can go on YouTube and they can find an instructional video, but sometimes they can't, or sometimes they want to speak to their students themselves. And 90% of teachers, and probably more than that, don't know how to do that basic skill. So those are the kinds of things we're teaching. And I hope that helps answer your question. So help them get the promo if they don't have it already, but help them know about us. Even if they haven't been buying Chromebooks, make sure they know that we're here to help them with professional development. All right, here are some new things that we have been selling to people that we'd love to have you guys sell. So we're going to make sure right now we're selling this class for 50% off. We're going to sell it to you for 60% off. That'll give you a 10% markup where they'll be buying it at least at the same price as us, or if you want to take less of a markup, they'll be getting a discount off what they could get it from us for. And frankly, people are so desperate right now, they'll pay anything, but we certainly didn't want to take advantage of that situation. So this is a brand new course. It just came out about 2 weeks ago. It's 3 hours long. It is everything teachers need to know about Google Classroom. It's called Google Classroom in 5. It's not 5 minutes, it's 3 hours, but it's 5 different sections. And we have very carefully and meticulously created an experience for teachers to use so that they can learn about Google Classroom. It has videos. It has text that they can read. It has multiple different ways for them to access the content. So it's a good learning experience, and it's something that teachers are literally desperate to know.
And when you say, Amy, that it's like one of our more requested, like when we hear school leaders reach out to us and say, what can we do for our teachers? This is what they're asking for. So
Yep.
they don't know we have it, so they don't know to ask for it. But when they start talking to us, we're like, this is what you need, and they're going for it.
Yes, absolutely. And that's the thing. I mean, that's why we need you guys at CDW so much, because they have a problem they're trying to solve. But until you tell them, hey, there's a solution right here, they don't know how to solve that problem. I mean, and they may be calling on internal staff to try to solve the problem, and those folks may not know how to solve it either. We're not just working with districts that don't have instructional technology people. I'll skip over and look at this Jefferson Parish article with you for just a minute. So this is Jefferson Parish is the largest school district in New Orleans, and they've been hit really hard down there, and they have about 4,000 educators on staff. Well, they have 2 people who work in instructional technology. They how can 2 people, even using webinars, 2 people cannot train 4,000 people? So we have been working with them. We worked with them for 2 weeks, literally every single day. And these are some of the quotes that we got back from them. And we're super proud of the work that we did with them. Let me skip forward so you can see the numbers. So this is the overall rating of the learning experience. Now, this is something you should know. First of all, these people had to attend. This was mandatory, and that usually makes ratings much lower. Second of all, we learned with them using exactly the same format that you're using today, which is a webinar, which is not the most fun way to learn. We usually get much higher ratings through anything we do face-to-face, but that's just not possible right now. So we're really, really thrilled to see. We had about 1/4 of people respond, which is huge. Anybody who works in statistics will tell you if you get 1 in 25 to respond, you're doing really well. So we had about 1/4 responses, 4.43 out of 5 for an overall rating. When we asked how knowledgeable were your presenters, we got 4.87 out of 5. And then when we asked people if they felt better about their knowledge and skills than before, we got 4.32 out of 5. So those results were far better than we would have anticipated that they would be. But when we started reading what people had written to us, that's when we really, I mean, I got, actually teary-eyed reading some of these comments, because, and they were mostly about Jessica and Brooke, but they were just so fantastic. Um, I love this. This is one of my favorite ones. I do not typically rate top score with evaluations, but in this case, 5 was not nearly high enough. I love that presenting teaching your class for us was effectively modeling how we should teach our students. I am striving to make my classrooms as fun as yours. So that was such a huge compliment to Brooke and Jess, and just it was an amazing experience working with them. So this is on our blog. You'll have the link in the slideshow I'm going to share with you today, and you'll be able to click on that. All right. Obviously, we have been doing a lot of webinars. So this is a fantastic way for teachers to learn. We have not had one single Zoom bombing incident, even though that's the tool that you logged in with today, because of how we control our settings. We are looking at a different tool for that, just because Zoom has been in the media with some not so good news lately. But it still is a safe tool to use in the way that we use it. So you can reassure people if they're concerned about that. And we can also teach people how to use Google Meet. So Rob, back to Rob's question, what are people asking for? Well, there's two different things about Google Meet that people need to know. One is it has to be set up correctly in the admin console. And we have 2 people on staff who can do that for folks if they need to. It's very reasonable. We're not talking about amplified IT prices. Last time I looked, they charged about 30 times more than we do for this. We're just charging them for, 1 hour of somebody's time. They're going to be able to get into an online meeting with that person and walk them through how to set those settings correctly, so that students cannot create meets. That's really important. So that when teachers leave the meet, the students can't come back in. That's really important. And then the other side of that is we need to work with teachers and help them understand how to actually use this tool to video conference safely with their students.
Amy, wouldn't you say that one of the things that makes teachers more vulnerable to any sort of, nefarious activity outside of their classroom is their lack of understanding of how to set up their environments and lack of understanding about how to manage it. So they've been kind of thrown into this situation, expected to conduct business as usual with very little training. And so we're noticing that a lot of these issues are avoidable, and they really could benefit greatly from some professional guidance.
Yeah, and that's so true. And school districts are really, I mean, they're really getting beat up over these problems. And yet, like I said, in one single week, we worked with nearly 5,000 educators using Zoom and Hangouts Meet. And we had not one single problem. And it's because we understand the software. We know how to properly set it up. And teachers don't know that, and they can't be expected to know that. This has never been tools that teachers have been using before. So it's really huge to get them the help that they need. Jessica's absolutely right about that. All right, so there's going to be that webinar link on this slide when you get it. Webinars for DL, standing for distance learning, which is a big term that everybody's talking about right now. This is the link to that Jefferson Parish slideshow. Um, we know that people are buying professional development now who have never bought professional development before, and a lot of times people are very hesitant because the number one thing that you hate to do as an educator is to waste money or to waste time. And both of those things can happen if they have purchased PD from somebody who, I don't know, sometimes people's hearts aren't in what they're doing. Well, our hearts is in what we're doing. And so we'd love for them to come to this blog post and read these quotes that we've got. This is just one project, but we get quotes like this all the time. And it's because we work really hard to make sure we know what teachers want, and to provide exactly what they want, exactly what they need. So take a look at that and share that with your customers if you're so inclined. This is our next course that's coming out. It's called Beyond the Brick and Mortar, and we had already started working on this before this crisis happened, but we realized that it's more important now than ever before. Of course, we have the Google Classroom course that teaches people how to use the tool. This is what teaches people what to do with the tool. So, it's a different thing learning about a piece of software than it is learning how to teach with that piece of software. So, this is about how to teach regardless of what software people are using. So if you've got a school district and they've adopted Schoology or Canvas or Blackboard or some other platform that they are using, that doesn't matter to us. We don't care what platform they're using. If they're doing distance learning, that means they're not with their students face to face. Nobody is right now. Then they need this course, because this is going to get us something more than those digital worksheets, which is what everybody wants to avoid right now, is that bad, going back to bad educational practices because we don't know what else to do. We also have a GT update. So hard to believe, but in the midst of this, teachers are still going to have to maintain their gifted and talented certifications. So in case this is a new concept to you, which it may be, I know not all you guys are, former educators like we are. Um, Almost all educators are GT certified, gifted, talented certified. Were you guys, Jessica and Brooke, were you both GT certified as teachers?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I think I got it my very first year to teach because it was required. And then every single year, every single teacher with this certification has to go through a 6-hour update. A lot of school districts just basically put teachers on their own to do this, but some school districts actually pay for that education for their teachers. So this is going to be a course that they can take that is actually going to teach them some valuable teaching skills that they can use with all their students. And here's another term for you, Rob, since you asked, and I love that you asked that question. The term is differentiation. Can somebody put that in the chat? The term differentiation. So what differentiation means is that, well, here's the best way I can describe it. I'm going to physical therapy right now. I hurt my shoulder and I've been going to physical therapy for like a month. And if anybody else has ever been to physical therapy or even been to the doctor, then you know that the goal of the physician is to figure out what's wrong with you and to provide exercises or treatment for what's wrong with you, what you need. So if I went to physical therapy and they gave me ankle exercises, it wouldn't help me because my shoulders hurt. Well, the same thing's true of education. If we have a student who is missing addition and we're teaching multiplication, we're not helping that student. That student has to learn addition. Even if everybody else has already learned addition, that student still has to have addition. So differentiation means providing education that's going to help an individual student. And it could be differentiated the topic, which is what I just described. And it could also be the mode of teaching and learning. For example, if you're not a good auditory learner, we have slides on the screen right now. That's differentiation. If you are not able to pay attention in this way, you have some other way to get that information. You'll have a video later if you want to rewind it and go back and look at it. That's part of differentiation. So that's a great word for you to always use. Like when you're talking to people about what they're doing with online learning, are they providing differentiation for special education students? For example, we're legally required to in education. Is it happening? I mean, I don't think it mostly is happening, and I think it can happen with the right professional development. This is a new course. I think we told you it was about to come out last time we had a webinar with you. It's out now. This is great for distance learning too, because this is how to provide feedback digitally to students. So this is another component teachers have to have. Normally, they're literally writing with a pen on a piece of paper and literally handing that piece of paper back to students. Well, that can't happen right now. How are teachers giving feedback without that ability to do that the way they've always done it? Well, this course answers that question. This is our online school. It's friedtech.online. We would love for you to go in there and take our Google Keep course, and here's why. Even if you think, I don't really care about Google Keep, maybe I don't even know what that is, go take the course, because what it lets you do is say, this online school is really good. Here's something I learned. You can log in and learn this too, because most of what people have experienced in online learning just absolutely sucks. And so they're looking at this and they're going, oh, God, I don't want to make my teachers do that. It's probably terrible. Well, that's why we have two extensive free courses, because we want you and educators and our folks we work with at Google to be able to go in and take these courses and see that this is not like other online learning experiences that they've been through. This is actually good quality stuff. Believe it or not, people are still getting Google certifications. There's some school districts that I think they're thinking this may be what their teachers need right now, which it's possible it could be. Our guess is probably what they really need is that Google Classroom course and that Beyond the Brick and Mortar course, but we're still hearing from schools that they want to get teachers certified. Well, we have a way to do that. It's completely online. It's completely on demand. Another thing that we can offer that you guys can talk about, here's another vocabulary word for you, and it is cohort. What we can do is if we have a school district that's got at least, I don't know, 15 or 20 people who want to be in a class, what they can do is they can have a cohort class. That means that they can have a district or school leader in that class with them, and they can be the only people in there. Most online schools don't have the ability to do that, but we do. They can supervise that progress, they can provide encouragement, they can see all the material. So it's a class specifically for their school district, even though it's online. And that's a huge thing for schools. Um, Jess and Brooke, what am I leaving out here? Do one of you want to talk about the starter pack?
Yeah, I can start. I can talk about that. The starter pack is, we have that Classroom in 5, which is specifically about Google Classroom, and it is a basics course, so it's definitely useful for all kinds of folks. But if they don't even know about the Google tools, if they're new to using the Google ecosystem, if they're haven't been G Suite users for long, or if they're a teacher that just doesn't integrate technology very often and has missed the boat on all the other trainings their district's provided, the starter pack is a great option for them because it's literally designed to introduce people to the tools, show them what they are, how to get to them, how to start using them with very basic steps. And the goal is really so that they can move forward. It's a foundational type course. They can move forward into all these other courses and start learning to use the Google Classroom. We've been working with teachers, like we said, for a couple of weeks now, and we see people every single day who are saying, I have to use Google Classroom because my district says so, but all my documents are in Microsoft, or all my documents are PDFs, or I'm buying all of them from Teachers Pay Teachers, and I don't know how to use them with my classroom. And that's because they don't have the basic foundational understanding of how the G Suite works and how their Google tools work. So that's a great place for districts who are, having those folks who are really, really brand new to the whole technology field.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're not just trying to upsell to people when they call us and they say, we want our whole staff to get certified Google level 1. And we say, okay, we really, really encourage you to pay a little bit more money and buy starter pack and level 1 in a bundle. And the reason why is because level 1 is not a beginner course. It's, I would say it's intermediate to advanced skills for most teachers. And if I'm lacking those foundational skills, just like that student who never learned addition and now is in a class where we're studying multiplication, I'm going to be very frustrated and not able to succeed. So what Starter Pack gives them the ability to do is to go back and get those foundational skills where they're lacking them. They're not required to do it. They don't have to do the whole course, but it gives them a place to go when they say, and this is the truth. We work with teachers sometimes who have been using G Suite for years, and we get into professional development with them, and they say things like, how do I get to Google Drive? Well, if you don't know how to get to Google Drive, like, you're probably going to have a whole bunch of other problems when you start teaching online. But that's the truth. That's where a lot of teachers are right now. And so they're very frustrated and nervous, and this is really a huge thing for teachers. All right. So this is that bundle. In total, if they do all of the hours, it is 24 hours of learning. And I think we have a special on this right now too, don't we? That's not on this slide.
Yes, I can't think of exactly what the cost is right now, but there is an option for a bundle.
I think
It's
it's like
cheaper.
70% off
Yeah, I think
right
it's
now.
really low right now.
Yeah, I think so too. So whatever you see on our friedtech.online website, you guys are going to get at least 10% more off that. Anything that's not on special right now, you get 30% off what a school district's going to get if they call us. So that's how we're keeping your prices lower so that you have room for your markup, and hopefully it makes it worth your while to sell these courses. All right, remember that we have SKUs. We still have account managers who say, wait a minute, you have SKUs? We had somebody 2 weeks ago who said that, and we're like, oh my gosh, I thought we said this a billion times. But yes, we have SKUs. We can add new SKUs if you want them added. David Andrade, and I hope I am saying his last name correctly. Somebody let me know in the chat because I know you guys all know David. He has been so kind in helping us get these SKUs processed. And this makes it really easy to sell what we've got. So that's the short URL for the spreadsheet of the SKUs. Of course, you can look them up in your system, and you guys call them EDCs, I think, is what you call them. So this makes it easy to sell things. You don't have to, contact us in advance. All right, that's what that spreadsheet looks like. So check back there often because there's often new ones added. Thanks, Rob. I will send this link out as soon as we're done. So you will have this whole presentation and everything in it and all of these links. Thanks for coming today. All right, we can also work based on these pre-sales. As most of you guys know, this is how we do these custom jobs. Sometimes, we just get in a call with that customer and we find out that what they want is already a SKU, and that simplifies the process and speeds things up. But if they want to buy a whole package from us and want to get the best price, we can always write up a statement of work for them too. So don't hesitate to ask for that. Don't forget that you have a web page for CDW account managers. This is the URL, and it is password protected because all of our old webinars are up there. There's one of them that has a further protection on it. You have to request access to it, and we have to check and make sure you have a CDW email address. But everything else is there for you to see, and you're welcome to go back and look at any of those past ones and look at all of our documents. All right, we have a lot of flyers you can send out as well. This is a new thing. I'm not even going to tell you about it today because it doesn't matter to you right now, but when all of this is over, I'm going to share this with you
But we
again.
worked so hard on
I
that for
know, we
them.
worked so hard on it. We worked on a workflow for you guys so we would make it easier to understand what these Google events are and how to get them started, how to book them and all that. And they're actually EDCs now too. We got all this done, and then this disaster happened almost immediately. So I suppose we will talk about that another day. These are the flyers that we maintain for you guys and directions on how to download them. These are a great thing to send to your customers when they're asking questions about us. You can send them our white paper, but there's all kinds of different materials in here for you to use that you can download. Of course, this event is now postponed. It is not going to be happening until this fall, but we're still going to be hosting a Google Summit, we hope, we think, in Waller ISD, which is in the Houston area. So I'm curious if you guys have any questions that you can ask today. Um, I don't see any right now, but please feel free to say if you have any questions in the chat, and then I will also shorten this URL to this presentation and put it in that chat too, so you can have it even before you leave here today.
Hey, Amy. So
Yes.
if a client says, I want to buy all this stuff, CDW, and then I also want to have all these custom online courses, and I want those like in the next 2 weeks because I need my teachers to learn all this stuff online. So how are we going to have to deal with that?
Yeah, I mean, if everything that they want is already an EDC or a SKU, then we would just do it that way because it would be faster. But I mean, what we really like to do is have a conversation with them so that we can really make sure we're nailing down what their goals are, how we're going to satisfy those. And don't worry, I mean, we're going to make this a pleasant experience for them. We're very customer centered, very service centered. So we want to talk to them, help them. That's going to help them get to know us, feel comfortable with us. And then we're going to make a proposal for them. So a lot of times, like Jess and I had a conversation, I think yesterday or day before yesterday. We were talking to a customer via email, and we had the conversation, you know what, let's just make a plan for him and say, this is what we suggest. And I feel like it's such a relief to people when they don't know what to do, and we can come back and say, this is the plan we suggest to you. And then, they can say, we want to do 1, 3, and 5 and not 2 and 4, and that's fine, but at least they have something to start with. So having that conversation is so critical, and I know that's drilled into all of you guys too, because you do this all day long every day. So let us get involved in those, and let us help you have those conversations with school districts who need help. All righty. Anybody have any other questions? Or Brooke or Jess, is there anything else that we should talk about before we hang up today?
I don't have anything.
All righty. Well, if you guys think of anything or have any way for us to help you, please let us know. And just know that we're here for you, just like always. You can always email all of us at information@friedtechnology.com, or you can contact us individually too. Our email addresses are our first name at friedtechnology.com. So thanks you guys for joining today, and I will be sending out the link to this in email in just a few minutes. So if you have any follow-up questions there, feel free to ask there too. And hope everybody is well and all that kind of stuff. Try to stay in and stay well. Bye everybody. Thanks for joining.
Bye.